Again, just in that short story, we can see all the different aspects of life, right? Exaltation, fear, terror, really, of fearing that Jesus was a ghost, and things are going well, and so all these different things all put together, again, our life experience. I did mention that we didn't play Candyland, and we really didn't. We got Ben's diagnosis when he was 2.5, and so we just kind of skipped the whole early game playing and went straight into ABA, Applied Behavioral Analysis, and a lot of sensory things, and we just kind of went straight into all of that. So I guess in some ways it was some games, but it was games with a very specific purpose to help our son with his autism. But it is interesting if you look at some of the different things that Candyland and other games help with. It really is kind of amazing if you think about it. Maybe next time, I don't know if you're a game player or not, but next time you want to play a game, I love playing games. I love Boggle, but certain members of my household, and my brother and my husband, two of them, have banned Boggle from our game playing. But anyway, but games really can help. I mean, they help with socialization. Thinking again about something like Candyland encourages kids to play with each other, to socialize with each other. Patience, right? To wait their turn. Isn't that an important thing to teach? Color recognition, Candyland, right? Following directions. No, you have to wait here. You can't keep going, or you have to go back 3 steps, right? Learning rules. Again, being able to follow those different rules. And again, as a former teacher, I appreciate that very, very much. If we can start to teach these things right from the get-go to our kids. Grantland Rice said this. He says, "For when the one great scorer comes to mark against your name, he writes not that you won or lost, but how you played the game." So sometimes we can view our life journey, right, as a game. Sometimes a deadly serious game, right? Other times it's a game of, I'm going to try this job. Well, then if not, then I'll go do this. So there are some more lighthearted, maybe, certainly different ways of living. But then again, sometimes we get really caught up sometimes in now I wish I had the vernacular, the licorice, gooey thing. I don't know, what's it called in Candyland? Isn't there a sticky, the gumdrop thing, yeah. And you just get stuck in that, right? Like maybe some of you who are still trying to get the licorice out of your teeth, right? That same type of thing, right, that we just get stuck. Well, did you know that the person who made up Candyland was a retired school teacher? Her name was Eleanor Abbott, and she was a retired school teacher. She invented Candyland in 1948. She was herself recovering from polio at a hospital in the San Diego area. And so she created the game to entertain children who were also suffering from polio and to help them escape the painful and lonely experience of being kind of stuck in the hospital at that time. So I thought that was really kind of a nice little aside as well, that sometimes we can take our own pain, our own tribulations, and we can turn those into something else for people. We can use our empathy to be able to say, I know what that feels like. Here, let me help you with that. Well, I couldn't say a lot, again, about Candyland. I did try to research some, and I found a really interesting blog that I basically want to finish with today. But it is by Reverend Teresa Borchard, and her blog is the Second Pilgrimage blog. And I read other things of hers, and I really like it. And so I hope that you will find meaning in this. She says, "For Forrest Gump, life is like a box of chocolates, but it could also be compared to a game of Candyland. How we wish we could play by a unique set of rules created as we go along to protect us from harm and keep us comfortable." So again, this is from Teresa. She says, "My daughter Catherine showed a high aptitude for this when she was 5. I distinctly remember the game we played almost 15 years ago on my bedroom floor. I go first, and I get the ice cream card," she told me. "Then you go, and you get the gingerbread card, okay?" She tucked the gingerbread card in the back of the ice cream card, in the big pile on the floor. "That's not how the game works," I explained. "You have to shuffle the cards, so you don't know what you're getting. That's part of the fun." "But what if I get all the way to Snowflake Lake, and then I'd pick the gingerbread man and have to go back all those spaces. She grimaced and thought further. Well, if I pick the gingerbread, will you go back with me, she asked, so that I'm not alone? I paused, considering all the sound advice in my parenting books, but chose codependency instead. Sure, I said. My husband shook his head. We play by the rules, or we don't play at all. All right, then we will only play with these cards, Catherine bargained. And some of us know of 5-year-olds, right, that bargain just as well. As she hid all the pink cards, the gingerbread, candy cane, gumdrop, peanut, lollipop, and of course the ice cream card, the guys with all the power. Bring those cards back here, I said. They are bad cards, she exclaimed. All of them are bad except for the ice cream. At 5, she wasn't ready to hear a sermon about the uncertainty of life. She would have refuted that notion and that many people arrive at Snowflake Lake only to pick the gingerbread card and backtrack a dozen or more spaces. I wasn't sold on it either back then. Even after picking some lousy cards in my early 30s, I was still crafting my own set of rules, trying to manipulate my movement to avoid any nasty surprises. I was disturbed by the randomness inherent to humans. You can be winning the game by 20 squares and then lose a turn because you landed on a licorice space. You may get an unexpected break by landing on the rainbow trail or gumdrop pass, but then your competitor picks the peanut card and gets to hang out in Peanut Acre while you're stuck in Lollipop Woods. Certainty is fleeting. That is why we must have faith. Teresa of Avila is one of my favorite mystics, and every once in a while I'll include her in sermons or in the newsletter. And the last newsletter, I haven't sent you October yet, so September newsletter, I included her bookmark prayer. Let nothing disturb you. Let nothing frighten you. All things are passing. God only is changeless. Patience gains all things. Who has God wants nothing. God alone suffices. So having faith means that we don't have to fret if we pick a gingerbread card, because God is like a pushover mom. He will always go back with us. Faith assures us that we will soon move on from all those sticky spaces, and if we keep our hearts open, we may even learn something in the Lollipop Woods. The card that we most feared could turn out to be our greatest teacher. And once we truly grasp that, we are free. We can relax, and we can play the game.